if you take a drive through, I don't know, any suburb in Johannesburg or Cape Town right now, and I mean, if you really look up at the rooftops, it's actually staggering.
Oh, it's a different world.
5, 6 years ago,
Yeah.
you'd see red tiles, maybe some gray slate.
Right. And the occasional solar geyser if someone was feeling, a bit ahead of the curve.
But today, it is just a sea of glass. Got blue panels, black panels, silver frames, all glinting in the sun. It honestly feels like South Africa has pulled off this huge citizen-led energy revolution almost overnight.
We did. We basically had to fix our own power problem.
Yes.
It's genuinely one of the most rapid, decentralized energy transitions anywhere in the world. It is a success story. But as with any revolution, there's always a messy aftermath. And there's a very large and kind of invisible problem lurking behind a lot of those shiny new panels.
And that is exactly where we are going to get into today. Because while your solar system might be keeping the lights on and saving you a fortune on your bill, there is a very high probability that it is technically illegal.
Illegal in the eyes of the utility provider, yes. And that little distinction, the one between working perfectly and legally compliant, is about to become incredibly important for homeowners.
Okay, so let's set the scene. Today is January 18th, 2026. We are just into the new year. And if you own a house with solar panels, you've got a deadline staring you in the face.
A deadline that's a lot closer than people think. March 31st, 2026.
That's the one. It's the cutoff for the Eskom solar registration mandate. And I can almost hear listeners rolling their eyes right now. Oh, great, more paperwork, I'll get to it.
That's the default reaction, sure. But our mission today is to show you why this isn't just about filing a form. We are talking about satellites scanning your roof. We're talking about some serious fines.
And the big one, the insurance.
The insurance nightmare. That's the part that that's the real kicker.
So we're going to cut through all the noise today. We're going to figure out who actually needs to register because there's so much confusion out there. We'll look at the carrot and the stick, how you can save maybe 10 grand by acting now versus getting hit later.
And we need to unpack those hidden risks before this window closes in just over 2 months.
Right. Let's start with the scope. Who actually needs to worry about this? Because I hear this all the time. Someone says, oh, I've just got a small 3 kW inverter, a couple of batteries. I'm small fry. Eskom doesn't care about me.
Yeah, the I'm too small to matter defense is probably the most common misconception we see. So let's look at the actual regulation. The mandate covers all small-scale embedded generation systems.
The industry calls it SEG.
SEG, yes. And the official threshold is anything under 100 kVA.
Okay, wait, let's unpack 100 kVA for a second. That's massive, isn't it?
It's huge. A standard large suburban house might have a 60 amp supply, which is what, maybe 13 or 14 kVA? 100 kVA is like a small shopping center.
So if the limit is under 100 kVA,
then it catches literally 100% of residential homes.
Right. Unless you're smelting iron in your garage, you fall into this bracket.
Correct. So size is not an exemption. If you have a panel on your roof, you're in the bucket.
Okay, so size doesn't save you. What about the other argument I hear all the time? I don't sell power back to Eskom. My inverter is set to 0 export, so I'm not grid tied.
And this is where the logic gets tricky for people. There's a fundamental difference between the flow of the electricity and the physical connection.
Okay, break that down for us.
Grid tied doesn't just mean you're pushing power back to the grid. It means your system is physically connected to your main distribution board, your DB board.
Where the Eskom power comes in.
Exactly. If your inverter and the grid meet at the same electrical panel, your system is defined as grid tied.
Even if I have a setting in my app that says 0 export.
Even then, because software can fail. Settings can be accidentally changed. The physical potential for your power to mix with the grid's power is what defines the category. So if you're plugged into your house's main wiring, you must register.
Is there any exception at all? What if I'm totally off-grid?
Well, that's the off-grid exception. If you are purely 100% off-grid, so you've physically disconnected from the Eskom network, maybe even removed the meter, then you generally don't need to register.
Complete energy independence.
Yes. But even there, Eskom is getting stricter. They may require you to provide proof, like a certificate, to verify that you are truly independent and can't just, plug back in with an extension cord.
It feels a bit like paranoia. I mean, I get that utilities want control, but why do they care so much about what's happening on my side of the meter?
It can feel like overreach, I understand that. But from their perspective, it's a massive safety issue. It all comes down to one concept, islanding.
Islanding, I've heard that term. Sounds a lot nicer than it is, I imagine.
Not tropical at all, no. Picture this. There's a big storm. a substation blows, and the grid in your area goes dead.
Okay. Lights out for everyone without solar.
Right. So Eskom sends out a technician to fix the line. He checks the line. It reads 0 volts. It's dead. He assumes there's no power because it's been switched off at the source.
Makes sense.
But down the street, your house has a solar system, and the sun is shining. If your inverter isn't properly regulated, it might keep pumping electricity out of your house and into that dead grid line.
So your house becomes a little island of live power.
Exactly, in a dead grid.
Yeah.
And the technician who's holding that wire...
Oh, wow. He gets electrocuted.
It is a lethal risk. Registration forces you to prove that your equipment has an automatic anti-islanding feature. It has to shut down the instant the grid goes down.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. So it's not just bureaucracy. It's about not killing the person trying to fix the power.
That's the bottom line. It's a safety non-negotiable.
Right, so we've covered the who and the why. Now let's talk about the when and the how much. Because money tends to motivate people.
It does. Sad but true.
That date again, March 31st, 2026. The clock is ticking. What is the big deal about that specific day?
That day marks the end of what they're calling the grace period. Right now, Eskom is offering a massive financial carrot to get people to register.
And what's the deal?
Until March 31st, they are waiving all the connection and registration fees for residential systems up to 50 kVA.
And those fees aren't trivial, are they? We're not talking a few $100.
No, not at all. Depending on where you live, the application and connection fees can add up to anywhere between, say, 6,000 and 10,000 rand.
10,000 rand, that's the price of a good battery, or a couple more panels.
Exactly. That's our 10,000 that stays in your pocket just for doing the paperwork now instead of in April.
Okay, so that's the carrot. What happens if you miss the deadline? April 1st rolls around.
Then you get the stick. First, that waiver is gone. You're paying the full R10,000. But on top of that, there's the threat of fines.
I saw a number. R6052. That's a very specific number.
It is. That's the figure being mentioned for a standard residential violation. Now, I should add a little caveat here.
Okay.
The legality of these fines is being debated. Civil rights groups are pushing back, arguing you can't retroactively fine someone for a system they installed years ago.
It's a bit of a gray area.
It is. But do you want to be the test case? Do you want to be paying lawyers to fight Eskom over a $6,000 fine? Because even if you fight it, you still have to register and pay the fees anyway.
You lose either way.
You lose either way.
Okay, the financial logic is solid. Register now, save a lot of cash. But here's what I think holds people back. They think, how will they ever know I've got high walls?
The ostrich strategy. You know, I'll just hide. It used to work. But technology has moved on. You might have a high wall, but you don't have a roof over your roof.
You're talking about the eye in the sky.
I am. Eskom and several municipalities are now reportedly using satellite imagery to spot solar panels.
That sounds like something from a spy movie, but it's really happening.
It's incredibly efficient. Solar panels have a very distinct look from above, right? They're black or blue rectangles on a red or gray roof. It's easy for an algorithm to scan a map and flag every single house with panels.
And then they just cross-reference that map with their registration database.
It's a simple matching game. House on 123 Smith Street has panels on the satellite image. The database shows no registration for 123 Smith Street. Boom, notice sent.
They can audit an entire suburb from an office.
In an afternoon.
Yeah.
You can't hide infrastructure that's visible from space.
That is slightly dystopian. But okay, so you can't hide. But let's say you're stubborn. You'll risk the R6000 fine. There's another risk that's so much bigger.
This is the one. This is the aha moment for most homeowners. This is where the risk stops being 6,000 rand and starts being 6 million.
Walk us through it, the insurance angle.
Okay. Every single home insurance policy has a clause that says your property must be maintained in a state of statutory compliance. Your wiring, your electric fence, everything.
Right.
An unregistered solar system, even if a professional installed it, is technically an illegal electrical installation. It's an unauthorized modification to the grid connection.
I think I see where this is going.
So, worst case scenario, your house catches fire.
Horrible thought.
And maybe it has nothing to do with the solar. Maybe a heater fell over, the house burns down. You file a claim for, say, 3 million rand.
The assessor comes out to look at the damage.
The assessor sees the charred remains of solar panels on the roof. The first thing they'll ask for is the registration certificate, the proof of compliance. And you don't have it.
And they can deny the whole claim.
They have grounds to. They can argue the home's electrical installation was non-compliant, which breached the policy conditions. Claim rejected.
So you could lose your entire house, everything.
Yeah.
Because you didn't file a form.
That is the ultimate risk. It's so much bigger than the fine. It's just not worth it.
That is genuinely terrifying. Okay, you've convinced me. Let's pivot to the solution. How do we do this? Because, let's be honest, paperwork in South Africa can be a nightmare.
The good news is it's actually gotten a lot simpler in the last year or so.
I remember hearing you used to need a professional ECSA registered engineer to sign off, which cost a fortune.
That was the big bottleneck, yes. But they've changed that for small residential systems. You no longer need that top-tier engineer.
So who can sign off now?
A qualified electrician who is registered with the Department of Labor. Specifically, you need an installation electrician or a master installation electrician.
So a much more accessible qualification.
Much more. So what do you need? We call them the golden three. 3 documents.
So give us a list.
Number 1 is the Certificate of Compliance, the CASE. This is for the wiring. You should have gotten this when your system was installed.
And if you did?
You have to get an electrician to come out, inspect the work, and issue one. No CASE, no registration.
Got it. Number 2.
Number 2 is the one people often miss. The Inverter Type Test Certificate. This proves your inverter meets a standard called NRS 09721.
Another catchy name.
It's the South African grid code. Basically, it proves your inverter speaks the same safety language as the grid. You can usually download this from the manufacturer's website.
Okay. And the third one?
The Commissioning Test Report. This shows the system was tested on site and works safely. Eskom actually gives you a 12-month grace period to submit this one after you register.
Okay. COSI, Inverter Certificate, and the Commissioning Report. Sounds doable, but what about the people who installed their systems years ago? The pioneers.
Ah, yes. The professional but non-compliant track.
Because some people bought top-of-the-line gear 5 or 6 years ago, but the rules were different then. What if their inverter isn't on that approved NRS list?
That is a serious problem. Technically, that inverter cannot be registered as grid-tied.
So they're just stuck.
They're in a tough spot. They have 2 options, really. One is to replace the inverter with a compliant one.
Which is very expensive. 20, 30,000 rand.
Easily. The other option is to prove, with hardware, that the system can never backfeed. Software blocking isn't enough. You'd need an engineer to sign off on a physical relay or some other device.
That sounds complicated and probably expensive in itself.
It is. For many of those early adopters, sadly, just swapping the inverter for a new one might be the easier path. Feels unfair, but it's the cost of regulations catching up with technology.
That's a tough pill to swallow. Okay, let's look for a silver lining. Is there any upside to doing all this, besides just avoiding fines and insurance disasters?
There actually is. It's about getting your home ready for the future. When you register, it often triggers a meter upgrade.
The actual box on my wall.
Yes. They'll often come and replace your old spinning meter with a new bidirectional smart meter. And during this campaign, they're doing it for free.
And a bidirectional meter is good because
it opens the door for net billing.
Getting paid for your power.
Exactly. With an old meter, if you export power, it might just spin forward faster. You'd be paying them to take your electricity.
Oh, that's just tragic.
It is. A smart meter tracks what you use and what you export separately. So eventually, you can get credited for the power you send back to the grid.
So compliance now could actually become a benefit later.
That's the idea. You're not just filing paperwork, you're upgrading your home to be part of the new smart grid.
That's a much better way to think about it. Okay, let's wrap this up. For anyone listening right now, what are the immediate action items? What should they do today?
Okay, 3 things. First, check your inverter. Find out if it is NRS 09721 compliant. Google it, call your installer, whatever you need to do.
Step 1.
Step 2, get your golden 3 documents together. The COSI is the big one. If you don't have it, book an electrician now. They are going to be swamped in March.
Good point. Beat the rush.
And third, just aim for that March 31st deadline. Do everything you can to get the application in the system before then to save that R10,000.
It really feels like we're moving from a kind of wild west of solar installation to a properly regulated environment.
We are, and regulation can be annoying, but it's a sign that the industry is maturing. It's becoming a standard part of our infrastructure, not just a hack for emergencies.
Absolutely. Well, that brings us to the end of this deep dive. But before we go, I just want to leave you with one final thought. We talked about the eye in the sky.
The satellite enforcement.
Yeah, and it's effective, for sure. But just think about the precedent. If utility companies are now using space-based surveillance to check our rooftops for electrical compliance, what else are they looking at?
That is the question.
Is it just solar panels? What about that extension you built without plans? Or the swimming pool? If they can see the panels, they can see everything else. It makes you wonder, how much privacy do our properties really have anymore in the name of regulation?
A sobering thought. The glass on the roof is transparent in more ways than one.
Indeed. Thanks for listening, everyone. Good luck with the paperwork. Save that 10 grand, and we'll see you on the next deep dive.
Goodbye.